and that was CNN. If you'd wondered what was less than floundering CNN, the answer is CNN minus. I'm sorry if you thought there would be no math today. Hey, everybody, I'm Steve Green with Bill Whittle and Scott Ott, and this is Right Angle, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. Gentlemen, in case you hadn't heard or missed it or just didn't care, CNN, who's got this dwindling audience, they've lost like 80 or 90% of their core demo over the last year or so, decided that this was the perfect time to launch a paid streaming service called, as all streaming services must be, the name and then plus. So CNN Plus launched a couple of weeks ago, and you can get a free trial. Hey, cool. I like free. You can get a trial opening subscription fee of $2 or $3 a month. That's hardly anything. Heck, we asked for more than that right here at BillWhittle.com. And the actual fee is only going to be $5.99 a month or $59.99 a year. What a deal. Except, well, it's not quite working out. Let me get into the numbers a little bit. Consulting firm McKinsey told CNN that they could expect 2 million subscribers in the first year and 15 to 18 million subscribers after 4 years. And that's just in the United States. Those are pretty serious figures. And even at, $5 or $6 a month, a pretty nice little income there for CNN and their parent company, whose name I've forgotten because of all the mergers and stuff. Scott, they missed it by that much, as Maxwell Smart might have said. According to CNBC, fewer than 10,000 people are using CNN Plus on a daily basis. And since we're only 2 weeks into the launch, you can figure that none of them have yet to actually pay a dime. Not that I expect you to know the inner workings of a big consulting firm like McKinsey, but how do you think everybody got it so wrong?
Well, first of all, do you happen to know what is going to be on CNN Plus? Like, is it different than what's on CNN?
The only thing I know, well, for starters, there are no commercials. That's always nice.
Okay. What a plus.
And they also have Chris Wallace hosting a show that I swear to you is called Who's Talking to Chris Wallace? I'm not even sure the producers care at this point. So that's a great name.
Now, and over the years, I've had great respect for Chris Wallace, although I know that he fell out of favor with some conservatives because of performance during debates and various things like that. Yeah. But, I did think at the time when they hired him, I thought, what do you pay for a guy who is clearly in the November of his years in the business, and he's the hot get for CNN Plus? He was the star talent. Like, really, this is the best you could attract to that. And I think Chris probably looked at it as a sweet retirement plan. It's like, oh, how hard can this be? And nobody's watching, so you don't have to worry about screwing it up. CNN is basically trying to leverage the failure of their network by parlaying that into the failure of a streaming service. I can't imagine who's the audience for this, because what CNN does is ubiquitous and you can get it for free anywhere. And I don't know that there are that many people who are like, I really need to know what the opinions of these CNN people are. Even people who watch CNN, I can't imagine would want to subscribe to this service. I think people would be willing to give it a shot on a trial basis, and maybe they'll be able to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Or wait a minute, which way does that go? McKinsey Group, by the way, is the group from which Tom Peters and Bob Waterman emerged, who wrote the business classic, the one that really created the category of business books, which was In Search of Excellence way back, I think, in the 1980s. And I just think that maybe the guys at CNN should sit down with a copy of that book and find out what it takes to actually make an excellent company.
Yeah, this 2 million in the first year figure really got me. As I said during Backstage, CNN barely gets 2 million viewers every 2 or 3 days. And I was pulling that number out of the back of my head, not quite sure if it was correct, but it is correct. CNBC reported that because of that sharp decline in viewership since Trump left office, CNN rings up a total average of 773,000 viewers each day. So it takes them 2.5 days to get 2 million viewers for free. And Bill, I don't mean to say that a subscription streaming service can't work. It certainly can. It's worked very well for Netflix. BillWhittle.com, of course, runs a hybrid service that's part free and part subscriber. So clearly this can work. And you've made it work for us. And more importantly, our subscribers at BillWhittle.com have made it work for us. So what would your advice be? How would you fix CNN Plus?
You said they've got 10,000 subscribers. They're expecting 2 million?
10,000 daily active users. We don't know. And probably none of them are paying yet because we're still in the free trial period. So the enticement for free is not working.
I think if I were in charge of this outfit at CNN and I had the subscription-based thing and I was at 4 or 5% of my target goals, if I wanted to save it, I think I'd hire Jeremy Boring. That's what I think I would do. Yeah, I'd hire Jeremy Boring to run CNN Plus. I hope they don't. Look, what do you say about this organization? I mean, CNN. Speaking of other organizations, Jeremy took Jeremy's razors, just blew Harry's razors out of the water with subscriptions. He says it took him 10 days to have more Twitter followers than any other, shave-related company on the internet, this kind of thing. So it can be done. But in order to do that, you have to have a great marketing thing. And we did a show on this just a couple of weeks ago about Jeremy's Razors marketing and that brilliant ad that they did. But you also have to have a product that people want. And or at the very least, you have to have a product that people want to support. And Jeremy's Razors had both of those things, and CNN has neither. If it were up to me, using my vast business acumen and create the financial empire that staggers the world here at BillWhittle.com, here on the 98th floor of the Whittle Tower in downtown Podunk.
It's a tiny little town.
Yeah, it's a little town, big building. Not a smart real estate buy on my part, but that's the way it goes. Seriously, if it were me, I would start saying, CNN Plus now with 50% less Seltzer, something like
Brian
that.
Stelter.
Yeah, they have a problem, and they have seriously now they've got one of their problems is a problem we've always had, and a problem we had at PJTV had, and that is that the stuff on the internet is free. And it's very difficult to get people to pay for things on the internet because everything on the internet is essentially free. CNN is not a news organization and hasn't been for a long time. It is essentially a partisan trumpet blarer. And since you can get all of that delicious anti-Trump rhetoric for free, there's no real reason to sign up for it. There's no real value for it. In the case of Daily Wire or any of the conservative sites, you can go out and say, listen, we need memberships for this because we don't have the ad revenue. We don't have the so-called terrestrial footprint, right? CNN started out as a gigantic television network. That's still what they are. They have a huge on-the-ground terrestrial footprint. And if you're trying to compete against them, you can say, well, we have to go to members because otherwise we can't bring you any news or messages to counter these latest lies or omissions. But they don't have any of that. And what they really don't have, Steve, is credibility. I've said this so many times. CNN doesn't sell news. A news agency doesn't sell news. They sell credibility. A university doesn't sell an education. It sells credibility. All of these banks don't so much lend money as they have credibility. I'm going to walk down to a building that has a Wells Fargo logo on it and give somebody basically all of my money because I believe that they will be there tomorrow if I need to come and get the money back. It's credibility, and that's what makes society work. And when you destroy your long-term credibility for short-term gains, you're left with a giant shell of a brand. And that's what they've really done to themselves. They've destroyed their own brand. In the same way that Harvard University is a brand that is now in the process of destroying its own brand. Right? It used to mean Harvard degree used to mean something. Now it means that you can shout speakers off a campus and retreat to your safe room for people of color only and have your comfort pet. Right? That's what Harvard means now. So it's just another one of these dinosaurs that is going the way of the dinosaurs. It's yesterday's news format. It's yesterday's news. It's on its way out the door. And just as a closure for this whole orchestration, whenever I see any kind of news now on the internet and I see the story being handed to be my news anchors, I just almost laugh. I can't bear to watch it. Hi, I'm Jim David, and I'm going to start the sentence, and I'm going to finish the end of the sentence, and I'm going to talk to you about this one. We had a reporter in Afghanistan, and then Jim, do you hear us? Yes, we hear you. And then comes the actual news that I want to get. And on the internet, I just get that, and so I think they're cooked, Steve. I don't think even Jeremy could say it.
Bill, when we had, I was watching CNN the other day, and there was a male and female anchor, and they come back from a package, as they call it. It's a story that was done in Ukraine, and then they come back to the anchor desk. And the woman looks at the camera, and she says, they're about to go to commercial, and she says, "When we come back," and then she stops. And the guy picks up and starts reading, and it was clear by the look that they exchanged that she was accidentally reading his script.
Oh, my God. And they couldn't improvise their way out of it. Just
it was
deer
awkward.
in the headlights kind of.
Yeah.
That reminds me of early days at another organization.
Yeah.
But in any event, yeah, those are fun times. But we were amateurs. We were just learning how to do this stuff back at the day.
Yeah.
And these people have been the recognized name in news since the 90s, early 90s, and they've blown it, Steve. Yeah. Not only don't they have any credibility, their entire format is obsolete.
You know, when Roger L. Simon called to try and lure me into PJ TV before it even launched, I told him flat out no. And he said, "What? Nobody ever told Roger no. He'd been in Hollywood for 30 years. And I said, "Roger, I take pictures. I work on the other side of the camera. What the hell am I going to do for you at PJ TV?" And that was part of the thrill of it, was taking people who were not big money TV stars, putting them in front of cameras and seeing what could happen. It was a lot of fun. But listen, there are two ways to make this streaming model work. And one of them is to have content that people are expensive content that people are willing to pay for, because as long as your income is greater than your expenses, you're making money and you can stay in business. So if you produce a lot of expensive content, or even just a little expensive content, you've got to make it worth paying for. This is what Netflix does. Most of what Netflix makes is crap, just like all TV is mostly crap, but they produce a lot of it. They have enough quality shows in there, enough hits to keep people paying whatever the monthly fee is. I think it's $13 or $14 a month now. But they make that work, that high expense, high income thing work by producing a lot of stuff you can't see anywhere else. The other way to make it work is the scrappy way, the not PJ TV way, the BillWhittle.com way, which is to keep expenses low. For example, my set is mostly decorated with Lego that my family has bought me over the last few years, and I kind of dig that. But it doesn't
cost me $22,000 that Lego.
I was going to say, I don't have a Lego budget.
I still maintain I got overcharged for that.
So you don't need that many subscribers, but we always need more to keep an operation like this running. And the same is true of almost everybody you see making money on a subscription service on YouTube or Rumble or whatever the video service is. Low expenses, enough members to make it worth your while, and to keep sharing this message of liberty and conservatism that keeps us going every day, despite not having the big AT&T Time Warner dollars or whatever it is. That said, what CNN is doing is not unique. CNN Plus is doing is not unique. It's mostly the same kind of thing you can see on CNN for free, or Fox News for free, or God help you, MSNBC for free. So they're not differentiated, and they're expensive as hell to produce. Now, I don't know what they're paying Mike Wallace now,
Chris,
but his salary at CNN or at Fox News was $7 million a year. So let's be generous and assume that Chris Wallace took a pay cut just to get away from that evil Fox News. So let's say that CNN Plus is paying him $5 million a year. They need about 83,000 paying subscribers at $60 a year just to pay for Chris Wallace. Not any of his perks, not any of his expenses, not his hairpiece, none of that. 83,000 annual subscribers just for Chris Wallace, not his set, not his cameraman, not the person who runs the teleprompter. I don't think they can do it. And they certainly can't do it when they can't get 1 million viewers a day for free. And that was CNN. And this has been Right Angle, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. We always can use more of you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Our overhead is so low, we call it underhead.